Chapter 211. Perplexity. Counsel. When the speaker of the 10 had barely stopped speaking, the chief priests were already in front of him with very embarrassed faces, and asked him as follows: "Listen to us, for it is of great importance what we now wish to hear from you. Behold, the arming of the slaves would be quite right, but they are all in their capacity of beasts of burden, this purchased property in the hands of the aristocrats of the cities and the whole kingdom. Naturally, we could reclaim them with our omnipotence, and nobody could stop us. But next to our omnipotence, we are also righteousness itself, and impossibly could carry out such an illegal act. You now know how things are standing. You are smart people. Formulate an advice by which we could reach our goal in the easiest and best manner. For we can see irrefutably that all the slaves must be armed. But how to obtain the slaves legally is an entirely different question. It is to this question we would like to hear from you a very clever answer. And the speaker of the 10 got up and said, "Hi, mighty servants of the gods. We have understood you well. But we also must draw your attention to what we have said to you at the outset, namely, the undertaking will certainly cost a great deal of money, for which the eventual big profits are still far out of reach, and the question remains whether we can get hold of it. With the power of 4 million soldiers, it is indeed highly unlikely not to succeed. But we still do not have the winning gold in the bag, and therefore cannot promise anybody to become a co-beneficiary if he would make a contribution to this grandiose undertaking. For if you would say to one or the other, 'Give us your slaves for the intended undertaking,' if we are successful, you will receive 4 pounds of gold for each slave. Then the addressed person who is promised to become a co-beneficiary will say, 'The undertaking is quite laudable, but it is too far away, too uncertain, and the risk is far too great. Therefore, we cannot risk anything in advance. But what we want to do, to not hinder such an enterprise, is to hand over to you all the slaves for a price of 2 pounds of gold or 25 pounds of silver per head. If the slaves come back, we will take them back and reimburse you the deposit. If they don't come back, you have to give us either fresh ones in equal numbers if you want your deposit money, or the deposit will remain ours." Behold, this is the infallible voice of all the great slave owners. Just try it, and we will go into the fire if they act differently. Therefore, there are only 2 alternatives left: to either let go of the whole undertaking, or, on behalf of all the gods who rule the earth, to bite the bullet. And the chief priests said, "Good. Letting go of this undertaking is no option, But tomorrow, we want to listen to some of the aristocrats of this great city. But woe unto you, if they will talk differently than what you have just told us. And the speaker said, if only they don't make any greater demands, you can still talk about happiness. But I think they will make things much more difficult. There will certainly be no woe for us, but tomorrow will show whether you will not cry out a little woe when you hear the demands, which will certainly be greater.